College football is back, and the rule book is, a little, different. Although 2019 was classified as an off year for rule changes, officials could still make edits if they involved player safety, adjustments to any recent change that was not achieving its intent, or if they would have a significant impact on the image of the game. Here are a few of the revisions that will be in effect for this season. Past targeting calls were subject to video review with 3 possible outcomes: a call could be confirmed or overturned, or, if there wasn't enough evidence to overturn it on the field, it could stand. The new rule no longer allows referees to stand with the play as called, meaning targeting penalties will be imposed only when they clearly withstand more scrutiny. That new standard will apply only to targeting, not other kinds of plays. Turnovers and scoring plays, for example, will still stand if video evidence is not conclusive enough to overturn the original call. For targeting, officials will have to confirm every element of the call for a player to be penalized. If any component of targeting, like a player aiming at an opponent with the intent of attacking, is absent, the call on the field will be overturned. Crucially, a targeting indicator will still need to be plainly evident for any call to be confirmed. The rulebook offers some examples. Launch: a player leaving his feet to attack an opponent by an upward and forward thrust of the body to make forcible contact in the head or neck area. A crouch followed by an upward and forward thrust to attack with forcible contact at the head or neck area, even though one or both feet are still on the ground. Leading with helmet, shoulder, forearm, fist, hand or elbow to attack with forcible contact at the head or neck area. Lowering the head before attacking by initiating forcible contact with the crown of the helmet. We had too many marginal calls, too many ticky-tack fouls, too many on the margin, just on the edge that, boy, they could have passed on that, said Bill Carollo, the Big Ten's coordinator of football officials. Well, we're going to get rid of that. Now it's going to be tougher for my officials, especially in replay. Either it is or it isn't, and I think that's important. Carollo estimated that the rule change could result in a 10% reduction in targeting calls. Players who are called for targeting still face ejection and, if the foul happens in the second half of a game, disqualification for the first half of the next game. But the NCAA has added a new punishment for repeat offenders. If a player is penalized for targeting 3 times in the same season, he will be both ejected from the current game and suspended for the entire next game. The punishment will be repeated for every subsequent targeting penalty in a season. For most games that reach overtime, nothing will change. But if the teams play 4 overtime periods and are still tied, they will move to 1-play possessions, 2-point conversions. Those attempts will start from the 3-yard line unless a penalty is being enforced. It's a way to still ultimately decide the game, but it's time, said Steve Shaw, the Southeastern Conference's coordinator of officials, who cited last year's 255-play Louisiana State-Texas A&M game that featured 7 overtime periods. There's too many plays on some of these games. So this will be a great way to do it without changing the fabric of overtime. The rule book now also ensures 2-minute breaks after the second and fourth overtime periods. The Rules Committee didn't want to ruin the overtime, but at some point, we needed to get the players off the field, said Shaw, who is also the Secretary Rules Editor for NCAA football. The NCAA has come up with a formal definition of a blindside block, an open field block against an opponent that is initiated from outside the opponent's field of vision, or otherwise in such a manner that the opponent cannot reasonably defend himself against the block and mostly banned the play. It's easy to keep a player from getting to the ball carrier when they are running at those speeds, a shove, a push, Greg Burks, the Big 12's coordinator of officials. But we want to eliminate that decleater where we see somebody leveled and they don't see the play coming at all. With certain exceptions, those blocks will be called as personal fouls, which carry a 15-yard penalty.